Our good friend Scott Lauber, ESPN.com, covers the Boston Red Sox. Weather permitting, they'll play Game 4 against the Astros today and try to force a Game 5 back at Minute Maid with a win. They got the win yesterday, put up 10 runs, had it all going with Hanley Ramirez, 4 hits, 3 RBIs, and then the David Price, the 4 scoreless innings, certainly a difference maker. And Scott Lauber joins us here on Big Board Sports, 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, Roger.
How are you, Scott? We appreciate a few minutes. Hey, let me just start with the weather, because we're hearing this one could be a little dicey today with the forecast in Boston. What are you hearing? Is this game going to get played?
Yeah, it is dicey. However, from what I've been told, Major League Baseball is pretty motivated to try to get this game in today. I guess they've consulted 2 different weather forecasts, which have given them every indication that at 1 o'clock, when the game is supposed to start, they should be able to start. It should be dry at that point. There's rain in the forecast later in the afternoon, so they're not ruling out the possibility of maybe having to have a delay at some point, but they do feel like they have a long enough window that they might be able to squeeze the game in its entirety without a delay. So at this point, we're an hour and a half away from first pitch. Their intention is to play. I think they're going to meet again, MLB, with officials from both teams shortly after the top of the hour at noon. But their intention is to play and start on time.
All right. Well, hopefully, maybe the same formula as of yesterday, because we know Boston can score. They'll need to do that again. They got 10 runs up yesterday. Got good pitching, and Price was really good coming out of the bullpen. Can they win again today with Porcello though on the mound? He's had a shaky year. Can they get it done today and force a Game 5?
Yeah, look, if the Red Sox were doing a rain dance right now in their clubhouse, I think they'd be excused, because a rain out would certainly favor them. I think it would allow them to skip Porcello, start Chris Sale in Game 4, and I know Chris Sale didn't pitch very well at all in Game 1, but you'd feel more confident with Sale than Porcello starting the game. They also would have arrested David Price if they were to rain out today and play tomorrow. At this point, Price has let it be known, I think, to the coaching staff upon arriving here today that he feels okay and he's ready to go. John Farrell said it's everything in his fabric says to stay away from Price, though. Price threw 57 pitches yesterday, and probably could use a day. If he's available today, it might not be for more than a batter or 2. If they were to get rained out today, he'd be available for more tomorrow. As a result, Chris Sale is available out of the bullpen today and could possibly be used in the Price role from yesterday. That would mean, though, that if they won today, that Sale would probably be not available for Game 5, and they'd have to scramble for Game 5. So, can they win today? Sure they can. I mean, they proved yesterday, as you said, that they can score runs against maybe sort of the softer part of the Astros rotation. It's Charlie Morton today after Brad Peacock yesterday. They can probably score against Charlie Morton. The thing is, they're going to have to kind of still scramble to figure it out pitching-wise if Porcello can't get them deep into the game today.
Yeah, Scott, I saw on Twitter you tweeted out the quote of John Farrell, not even worried about Wednesday, and you can find Scott on Twitter simply at Scott Lauber, Lauber. Are you surprised at the approach that John Farrell is taking today instead of saving a guy like Chris Sale for a possible Game 5 and being willing to burn him today if necessary?
No, I'm not surprised at all, because save him for what? I think if Price is unavailable today, I don't think they can win today without Sale pitching. I mean, at least the trend has been that their starting pitching doesn't get them very deep in these games. And, based on recent performance and really generally speaking, the entire season that Rick Porcello had, the odds of him getting them deep into the game today with a lead, not all that great. And if he gets in trouble early, you're going to see them do what they did yesterday with Pfister, which was yank him right out of there. So I tend to think that if Price is not around and if Price is available today, as I said, it's probably not for more than a handful of batters. So I don't know if they can win today without Chris Sale, and if that's the case, what are you saving him for? Mm-hmm. So no, I'm not surprised at all. I think, look, yesterday they preferred to stay away from Sale and Porcello. Today I think the guy they want to stay away from for sure is Pomeranz, because they would still have him to start Game 5 on normal rest if they get that far. So I think you got to get there first and then figure it out. And I think Sale they're gonna need Sale to get them there.
Yeah, and you know what? And if I'm Chris Sale, I want the ball today. I want to get back out there and show everyone what I can do against a really good Astros team, because obviously, and it's old news, but game one was a complete stinker for Chris Sale.
Yeah, it was, and just knowing Chris Sale a little bit, and knowing his mentality, being around him all year, you know, I think he does want the ball as quickly as possible, and if he can sort of, you know, get in there and help him in any way today, I think he's sort of, I'm sure he's probably chomping at the bit to do that. You know, but again, you know, it wouldn't be ideal. It's not, you know, ideally you get through this game today, you win it, and then you can, you know, and you don't have to use Sale, and you can start him on Wednesday. But like I said, I don't know that anything that we've seen from Rick Porcello this year, or really from the pitching in this series in general, indicates that that's going to happen.
Scott, you know how this goes. A lot of this in New York and Boston always falls on the manager. And this morning we've been talking a lot about Joe Girardi's future, and it may be his choice if he doesn't return to the Yankees. His contract doesn't go beyond this year. If Boston doesn't get out of this series with Houston, do you think it's the end for John Farrell?
You know, it's hard to say. I wrote about this the other day. It's kind of a complicated issue. I think if they had gotten swept, I certainly think that it was at least 50-50, if not a little better than 50-50, that Farrell would be replaced. Only because the optics of getting swept 2 years in a row and looking pretty bad in doing so, change was going to have to come, I think, at that point. And unfortunately, very often it comes with a change in manager, even when, you know, maybe that's not entirely fair. So I think had yesterday gone differently, my answer would be a little clearer. I don't know. I don't know how they feel if they lose today, let's say. I don't think it makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. What's the difference if you're 1-6 in the postseason in the past 2 years, or 0-6? Mm-hmm. I don't think that win really should make a whole lot of difference. I still I lean to say maybe yes, Farrell would pay the price if they lose this series. But again, I don't know that I'd put it at any more than 50-50 right now. I think that there is a pull within the organization to keep him. There is sort of a sense from some within the organization that he did a very good job this year. He is the only manager in franchise history to win 3 division titles. He kind of pieced together a bullpen that looked shaky at the start, and they had a really, really good year. It wasn't his fault, certainly, that David Price got injured. It was his fault that Hanley Ramirez had a bad year. So there were extenuating circumstances, and they still won the division and made the playoffs. So I think that there are some within the organization that feel as though he's done a really good job this year and deserves to come back. And I do think that there are probably some within the organization who say, look, you know, if you keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, you know, you got to make a change. And the easiest change to make would be firing the manager. One interesting thing to note there, too, though, is that Dave Dombrowski hasn't hired a whole lot of managers over the last 15 years. The list is 2. It's Brad Ausmus and Jim Leland. Yep. He doesn't make a practice of hiring and firing managers. Now, Ausmus is available, having been fired by the Tigers, but they just finished in last place, and Leland says no way, shape, or form is he coming back to manage. So the last 2 managers that Dombrowski hired are, you know, there are, you know, neither is an ideal fit here. Neither is one is certainly seems like he's not going to be a fit at all in Leland. So where does Dombrowski turn? And that may be a factor, too, in deciding whether Farrell comes back.
Scott Lauber, the best, man. We appreciate it. Good insight, as always, from you, and we appreciate it.
Keep that rain away.
Yeah, keep that rain away. We'll get these games in today, and we'll talk to you down the road, Scott. Thanks for a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.